The time is 5:30. Call to order the November meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission. Matt, would you please do a roll call of commissioners?
Certainly. Molly Bales?
Here.
Ross Beebe?
Here.
Gregory Rush?
Here.
Mike Wika?
Here.
Jim Morrison?
Here.
Tim Thompson?
Here.
John Schmid?
Here.
Richard Parsons?
Here.
And Elena Huber is absent.
Again, I'll remind you to lean into your mics when you speak tonight. Reading of the minutes. Do we have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes?
So moved.
Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Hearing none, there are no adjustments to the agenda. The consent agenda, do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
So moved.
Second.
I have discussion, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
On the minutes of the October 15th, 2025, there are a couple of changes. The project at 1409 North Pasteur is labeled at 1409 North Craven in 2 locations. So I think we should make that change. So we make a motion to have the amended minutes.
The motion to be to approve with those amendments.
And I have corrected my copy here. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, moving on, hearings on certificates of appropriateness. The Historic Preservation Commission is a public commission appointed by the City of New Bern's Board of Aldermen. It is responsible for preserving and safeguarding New Bern's locally designated historic districts, both downtown and Riverside, based on U.S. Department of Interior standards, state statutes, city ordinances, and New Bern's historic district guidelines. 2 of the major tasks of the HPC include approving applications for a certificate of appropriateness and preventing demolition of historic structures due to neglect. The HPC holds a quasi-judicial hearing on an application for a certificate of appropriateness. The Commission hears sworn testimony and evidence provided by the applicant, by parties who received notice of the hearing, and by others who can justify that they have relevant evidence and are directly affected by the application. The Commission cannot consider comments based on personal likes or dislikes, hearsay, or personal opinion that cannot be directly related to specific historic guidelines. Likewise, commissioners shall refrain from stating personal opinion, personal likes or dislikes, or hearsay during a hearing. The Commission's decision on an application is based solely on testimony and evidence presented at a hearing that directly relates to the historic district guidelines. Mr. Shelley, if you'll swear in witnesses.
You get to swear us in.
Yep.
All right. Anyone who is going to be speaking about any of the projects this evening, please come forward and be sworn in. Anybody else? Okay. Go ahead and raise your right hand.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
I do. Thank you. Sit down.
Yeah, I got it.
I'll summarize the hearing process for applications. The HPC administrator provides an overview of the application, then the applicant or representative presents the application. Proponents and opponents who receive notice of the hearing can present evidence. Rebuttal is allowed by the applicant and by proponents and opponents who receive notice. Others who can justify that they have relevant information and will be directly affected can present evidence. The HPC administrator presents the staff findings and recommendations. The applicant or representative has an opportunity to make final comments on their application. Then the commissioners discuss the evidence and may ask for clarification from the applicant or presenters. The chairman calls for a motion to approve or deny the application with stated findings of fact. The motion is discussed by the commission. The chairman then calls for a vote on the motion by the commission, and the COA can be approved with conditions, or denies. With that, we'll move to the very first hearing, which is 1409 Pasteur Street.
Correct. I'll go ahead and start with the summary of the
And is the
application.
the applicant here?
Yes, the
Okay.
applicants are here.
Okay, good.
This is the application form for 1409 North Pasteur Street for Blair Kaufman. And the project is described here in a few sentences and referenced the guidelines and an addendum for the description of the materials. The appropriate boxes are checked off, and he has signed and dated this form. In case John Bolster was going to speak for him, the form was prepared for this, but that's not necessary this evening since the owner is here. The addendum describes the various guidelines. And then as far as for zoning and inspections, we now do that at the beginning of the process here. The zoning administrator has indicated that a zoning permit is required, and he's signed and dated that, and the chief building inspector says that the project will require a building permit, and the building permit is required, and he's signed and dated that as well. So as an overview, it's maybe been a few months, right? Yeah. Since we went over this the very first time. We're talking about, we'll use some aerials here to show the property and the surroundings. We can see it's highlighted here, has somewhat unusual zigzag in the property outline, but we're basically talking about the back of the house. So this area here on the screen, we're looking at that. You can see they have an existing accessory building in the back as well. So, and I've also zoomed in quite a bit so you can see they currently have a deck there. They will be removing that to construct the new rear porch addition. So, there we go. And this is an old survey for the property where they've sketched that new addition on the back, and they've delineated that the porch will be 16 feet from the property line on the north and 14 feet from the property line on the south. All of that is clearly within the 5-foot setback, 5-foot setback, side yard setback in the historic district, and then 25 feet from the garage, which is required to be 8 feet, so, or 8 feet or more. All right, so that seems to be fine. Then so for reference, providing some of the images of the structure, just to begin with, the very front of the building, so you have the idea of the character of the building from the front. We have two views of that. There is a driveway which goes up the right-hand side of the building. And on this one, you can see the left side, and you can see the building includes a one-story addition already on the back. So this is now the back provided by the applicants with the deck that will be removed. But to note that, of course, then when you attach a porch onto this, the door and the window will be on the porch.
Matt, that's also labeled North Craven.
Oh, geez.
I don't believe that's the correct address.
We're not going to put a porch.
Are you thinking about moving your house?
No wonder. No, okay. So we see here again doors and windows that would remain, and the sloping roof. We'll see how they address that in their sketches. So here you have a side view where you can see that sloping roof, and there is an existing chimney which is to remain. And then you can see the windows on this side of this existing addition there. So, and then on the other side, same thing. there are 2 windows here as well, and a door. So the existing front railing is to be replicated in the new addition. So they show us photos of that. And then these are now the drawings. So what we see in the upper left is the foundation plan. You can see they do have piers along the face of the existing building so that the structure is not disrupting. Being attached to the building doesn't necessarily disrupt the existing building face. But nevertheless, then this right elevation, they call it, this is the view from the south. And you can see how the existing roof, so on the right here we see siding, and that's the existing 1-story addition. And so the existing roof has an angle like this here, and so they're adding on this roof basically as an extension of the existing roof. And let's see, what looks like open space here with these white areas is actually to be infilled with insect screening from floor to ceiling. And that insect screening is behind the posts as required. Then this third bay here is actually open without screening and is basically like a regular back porch. So you have a screened-in portion, 2/3, so to say, and 1/3 is unenclosed. And then the left side is basically a mirror image of that as well. So then from the back, we see that it's designed such that it has stairs down the middle, and then the railings on both sides of that. The existing door is shown here on the left and on the right. Then the lower left here is the floor plan, which shows that the screening, of course, then has to have a separate wall, a screen wall at that 2/3 mark through the floor plan, and a doorway on the left. But otherwise, then this outdoor portion is, this lower portion here is outdoors. So, and covered by roof. This is a roofing plan. They have a little section of the drawing of their structure over here. It indicates some of the materials that we were asking about. So they will have fiberglass shingles on the roof. And the posts and such are all wood. Concrete footings and rebars and stuff we aren't so worried about. And here's where they note the screening to be inside the posts and railings. And the screen section extends to the first 2 bays from the house. The last bay is open air deck. Then also on the side, because it's a new construction, there is a skirting board, and they will have 3-inch horizontal cedar slats underneath this to enclose that space, that otherwise open space. We did ask for a little bit more detail on that. The porch floor to the ground measurement is approximately 36 inches. The material is treated lumber deck boards measuring 6 by 1 1/4 inch. They'll be painted or boards to be stained to match the house foundation gray. And the placement is horizontal, placed with approximately 1 1/4 inch gap between each board. And they've also provided a photo to reference of an example. The porch screens inside the posts and railings, we mentioned that from the previous drawing. And then the materials overall, the trim, door, rails, and spindles will all be wood, which will be primed or stained before construction. And here they have the notes about the trim, the deck boards, the skirting, and the screens. And then the railings and balusters also hitting the requirements. That would be not 3 feet apart, but 3 inches apart, I assume, and match the style used on the front of the house and recently installed at the front and side entrances. and the chimney is to remain. So those were the main points we needed them to clarify. And whenever you're ready, I'm ready with my staff report.
Do you have anything to add to that?
Well, if there's any confusion about this.
Can you come to the microphone?
If you'd come up.
Can you come to the mic? Sorry, could you come to the microphone?
Oh,
First of all, I want to thank Matthew. He's been great to work with. He's
And I'm
helped
sorry
us.
again. Could you
My
introduce?
name is Blair Kaufman.
Thank
I'm the owner with my wife of 1409 North Pasture. We also own the house immediately next door at 1407. So thank you, Matt, for helping us along with this project. Since last August, we've been trying to get this ushered through here. And thank you all for your time. Really appreciate it. The only, I don't know whether you picked up on the conflict on the skirting, because we put in 3-inch cedar strips is what we initially had thought about, but I think we're going to just use deck board for that, so it's going to be a little bit wider than that. And I think there's a photo in the batch of photos I gave you. Here it is. It'll be more like that kind of skirting. So we just hadn't settled on it and yet. So I'm,
Just under the open section? Or, okay.
yes,
and only 36 inches. This example obviously is taller.
yes. So any questions, I'm happy to answer.
So what size are those deck boards? Are those 6-inch?
Yes,
Okay. So really, you'll have 4 or 5 of those?
about 5 of them probably. It's 36 inches, and there'll be like an inch and a half or something between each one.
Anything else? Okay, thank you. Matt,
Okay.
if you'll give us your recommendations?
Yes. Yep. My staff report. All right. So this is for the property owner or applicant is Mr. Kaufman. The project address 1409 North Pasteur Street. In the National Register inventory, the historic property name is House, and built circa 1915. It is listed as a contributing structure. And so in the inventory description, which was written in 1988, 3 lots in this location were acquired by T.J. Turner in 1913, and virtually identical houses were built on each in the ensuing years, although little more has been determined about them. Also clad in asbestos siding, this 2-story frame double pile side hall plan house has a standing seam tin high hipped roof. A 1-story hipped roof porch has wrought iron supports rising from a concrete deck on a new brick foundation. The 2-bay facade has a large 1/1 window to the left, south of the transept entrance. Other windows are 2/2 sash. A 1-story L extends to the rear with a porch on the inner elevation. A small shed-roofed addition projects from this porch. The interior chimney is on the southeast roof slope. And Sandbeck had no description of the structure. So for 1409 North Pasteur, the project is to include a new partially screened rear porch addition in the Tertiary AVC. And staff submits the following historic district design principles and standards, formerly known as the guidelines, that may be appropriate to this application are design principles 3.1.1, modifications 3.2.1 and 2, for additions 3.3.1, 2, and 3, for walls, trim, and ornamentation 4.2.1 and 4, windows, door, and openings 4.3.1, for entrances 4.4.4 and 5, for roofs 4.5.1 and 3, for paint 5.4.2, 3, 4, and 6. And the statements of reason based on the information contained in the application and staff's judgment are: 1, the application is for a new partially screened rear porch addition in the Tertiary AVC of a contributing structure in the tight weave development pattern. 2, the proposed design components and materials meet the requirements of the design principles and standards. 3, the zoning administrator and the chief building official have reviewed this project and commented accordingly. And 4, the project is not incongruous with the design principles and standards. And the HPC may want to consider the following conditions. Any revisions to the application according to the changes agreed upon at the hearing shall be submitted by the applicant to the HPC staff for approval by staff or the HPC according to the design principles and standards prior to the final inspection by the Building Inspections Division. That's the end of our report.
Okay, having heard the guidelines, is there anyone here who received notice who would like to speak as a proponent of the application? How about anyone who received notice who would like to speak as an opponent of the application? And anyone else who feels that they are particularly affected by the application and wishes to make a comment? With that, commissioners, do you have any questions or comments?
The porch that's proposed is in a tertiary area. Mass scale proportion seems to be appropriate to other back porches that we've approved. There's a picture in the packet of where you can see a back porch on the sister house. So the proposed design seems to be compatible with other houses that you would see in the historic district.
Mr. Chair. I would agree. I think that the design principles are met. I think all of the requirements for additions seem to be met as well. So I think that this project meets.
If any no further comments, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we find the application for certificate of appropriateness for 1409 North Pasteur Street to be not incongruous with New Bern's Code of Ordinance, sections 15-411 to 15-429, and New Bern's Historic District guidelines based on the following specific guidelines and findings of fact. Guidelines under design principles 3.1.1, modifications 3.2.1, 3.2.2, additions 3.3.1, 3.3.2, 3.3.3, walls, trim, and ornamentation 4.2.1, 4.2.4, windows, doors, and openings 4.3.1, entrances 4.4.4, 4.4.5, roofs 4.5.1, 4.5.3, paint 5.4.2, 5.4.3, 5.4.4, 5.4.6. Findings of fact. The application is for a screened-in rear porch in a tertiary area in a tight weave development pattern. The proposed design components, materials meet the guidelines. The zoning administrator and chief building inspector, the chief building official have reviewed the project and commented. The project is not incongruous with design principles and standards, and it does not diminish the special character of the historic district. As a condition, any changes beyond what are approved in this hearing will be submitted to the HPC administrator for review and possibly taken to the HPC as needed as addendum.
Your second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Is there a motion for a COA?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Issue a COA. Thank you. You're good to go.
Mr. Chair, for the record, we talked a little bit about this project. We talked about a design review in August, and I just wanted everybody watching to know this one wasn't because of our delay here. That was just because the last two meetings we couldn't get you or your representative at the hearing. Yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that this time it wasn't us.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Okay, the second hearing is 509 Queen Street. We have a visitor from California back. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
All right, I will start. Now this is our new application form, so it looks a bit different. So this is for 509 Queen Street. The property owner is Clayton Rogers, and the applicant is Go Architectural Design, PLLC, and we have the authorization form for that coming up shortly. The proposed work is a new two-story duplex on the existing empty lot. The applicable historic district standards are listed here, and the materials to be used are also listed here as well. And it looks like they might actually continue on in the form, but the form does not show us those. But the plans are quite complete, and I don't. It's happened before. I think our computers automatically wipe out the signature and auto dating of, automatic signatures and dates on these when I combine them with all the others. So we do have a signature and date on this, because it also looks like it wiped them out here for the check marks as well. So go figure. All right. If we need to see that, I can show you that separately.
But it will be in the final
Yes,
paperwork?
exactly.
Okay.
So, and this is that authorization form that authorizes Sarah Offlerbach to represent Mr. Rogers. And it is signed and notarized. Okay, and so the zoning and inspections item comes up, and let's see, we have, this is in the historic district overlay, but also in the C4 district. And we have this form filled out for residential uses only. And so we have that information here. With that, the zoning administrators indicated that the zoning approval is strictly for the residential use, no additional requirements needed based on recent changes. And I think our applicant's representative will, or the applicant will talk to us about that shortly. And then also he comments that it would then meet the requirements of the land use ordinance, and the zoning permit will be issued for the duplex. A design review committee review no longer is needed with the removal of the commercial use. So there we go.
And then also the chief building inspector
Yep.
would not need commercial, correct?
Oh, right, that's correct. Yep. So it would just be a standard building permit. All right. So 509 Queen Street, this is the aerial view of that empty lot. And we can see, we'll zoom out a little bit more here, that this is an unusually situated lot, being with Queen Street at an angle to Railroad Street, Hancock Street. This lot seems to be taking up the angle of Hancock Street, and that's due to its history as a former siding to the rail line into the former Pepsi factory down here at the bottom of the screen. But you can see there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 properties bounding the property on the east, one on the south, and one on the west. So that's a unique situation there. I've also provided some street view shots to provide some more eyeball level context. And here we see the actual subject properties in the middle of the screen here behind this bush. You can see some of that empty lot space. The house on the right is its neighbor along Queen Street, and the green lawn area is part of that property for that house. Directly across the street, you can see the what's called the Rhone Hotel here, this 2-story brick building. And in the background behind the property is the back of the commercial property on the corner of Hancock and Queen. The next one down just moves slightly closer to to the property in front of the house to the right, and so just to provide any other additional information that someone may want to see. Then as you pass the property and look back, now the Rhone Hotel is on the right, the corner of the commercial building on the left, and they have a backyard as well. And the subject property is the paved lot here behind that car, the dark-colored car. So looking straight into the property, we can now see quite clearly that the three sides of the property are surrounded by this brick wall. It's been constructed in a lattice pattern, what's called a lattice pattern, with the openings between all the bricks, and has these brick piers all the way along for structural stability. The front is open, and there are no trees or any other vegetation on the site other than the bit of grass and weeds and such. All right. So now the architectural drawings start with that pretty much that same view, and includes some other photographs that may be of interest. One is a close-up starting from the northeast corner of the property looking in. The next is the straight-in view from across the street. The next one is from the northwest corner, and this is an older photograph, and this portion of the wall has been subsequently been rebuilt. So that is looks a little different now. The other photos are also along Queen Street towards the property, which is now then on the right behind this light-colored tree. And we can also now with these see a little bit more of the character of the neighboring house, as well as the house next to that, and then several more houses up the rest of the block. In this photo, you can see the yellow house, very small on the left side. You can see how it resembles that, and then so you can see these are all the rest of the houses up to the corner of Metcalf Street. All right, so we have the site plan here and a representation of the light, exterior light that they're proposing. And so with this, the entire site, we can see the duplex is situated on the western side, 7 foot 5 inches away from the property line, and then leaving then on the right hand side is 15 foot 3 inches to the property line there, and that allows them to have a driveway along the side of the building so that the parking can be facilitated in the back. Whoops. They also show here sidewalks out the front. There are 2 front stairways, and they have one common walkway across the front and then out to the existing sidewalk. We'll also see this in the floor plans, but primarily this is a front porch area, this gray shaded area, and then there's also a back porch area. And the back porch area has not only a set of stairs for it, shown here in the bottom right of that porch, but also a chairlift. Are we going to be having any handicap?
Nothing's changing right now.
Okay. And so then we have 6 parking spaces shown here, even one which is handicapped and one striped out handicapped access space. I will note that I did calculate the, it's shown here as parking is 1,913 square feet. We consider not just parking, but vehicular motion area for vehicular motion. And that ends up coming out at 2,300 square feet, which is more than the 50% that is required. So That is perhaps something that can be discussed here in a minute as well. Let's see. Okay, and the applicant has provided the setback measurements to determine the front yard setback, which are determined by the minimum and maximum setbacks of the other houses or other buildings on the same block. So, and they show these here, and their building is setback. This corner here is setback. The required distance, it's within that range. All right, of the minimum and maximum. Okay, so the floor plans, you're saying the floor plans aren't going to change? Oh, yes. So you're still going to have an office on the first floor?
Well, so
Okay, go ahead and come on up and go ahead and describe your floor plan now.
hello, nice to see you all. Sarah Afferback, Go Architectural Design. Right at this point in time, the HPC does not look at the inside of the building, so we are here for the exterior duplex. Anything that is changing on the inside, we will change and submit to the building inspection department as part of the permit set.
So none of the windows are changing,
None of the windows are changing.
and none of the doors are changing.
None of the doors are changing. They may
Exterior doors.
exterior, no.
Right.
Everything will remain the same as it is right now.
About the parking.
So that rear lot is, the entire lot is asphalt, the entire lot. And so, it's kind of interesting when you talk about parking and, we're over the number by, I don't know, we can look at how you calculated it and how I calculated it to make sure we're on the same page about how that's done. But right now, the entire back lot is completely asphalt. So if they were to do nothing at all and just leave it like that, you're saying that that would not be allowed?
So a certain amount of landscaping is required?
Yes. And
So you're not going to plant that in the asphalt?
no, we're not going to plant that in the asphalt. And the owner wants to take out all the asphalt in the front and do landscaping and come back with an actual landscaping plan at a later time. But yes, so we will take out some of the asphalt for landscaping in the rear. Yes.
Now, if it's residential, you wouldn't need a handicap spot, right?
I mean, the owner would like a lot of parking back there. This is for part of one side is going to be for the owner's use, and the owner has a daughter who's got 5 kids, and there needs to be a lot of parking. I mean, it's not something that is, it may be a little bit out of the ordinary, but at the same time, that entire back lot is already just all asphalt right now. So they want to take out what they need to for the landscaping, and then leave what's back there right now.
Why don't you just keep going, Matt? We'll just,
Sure.
I don't think we need to go item by item and resolve everything
Right.
one at a time.
Okay. I had anticipated there would be some changes to the plans today. So that's all. Okay. On the plans, I already mentioned, on the floor plans, I already mentioned the front porch and the rear porch here. Now switched the other way around, so the front porch is at the bottom. And the plan's also on the site plan, but what I didn't mention, there is HVAC and trash can corral, basically fenced-in area with gates along the back of the back porch. And so this is the front elevation on the left. I'll make it bigger. Okay. The front elevation on the left. And you can see the front door for each unit on the porch on the left and the right. Basically mirror image here down the middle for each half. Posts and the roofing. So on the porch, the roof is metal roof and flat pan with width no greater than 24 inches. The posts themselves are composite posts. The handrails and balusters are also composite material. Let's see, at the bottom here. The screening between the piers is pressure-treated stained lattice, and the piers themselves are brick masonry. Then the siding is smooth hardy board lap-sided siding that's been painted, and we have some of the composite trim boards shown here, 5.5 on the corner. The windows are vinyl double-hung windows with 3D grills inside and out. That's typical. And not sure we got what the doors are made of. Maybe it's on the back. Let me check. All right. So then this is the back. No. So what are you doing for the doors?
I believe we're doing
Can you, I'm sorry, Sarah, can you come up?
a wood door with glass lights.
Okay.
Sorry, that should have been on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The rest of the materials that I did not already mention, the fencing around the HVAC and the trash cans is a vinyl picket fence. We'll need to know the spacing of those, and then same with the railings and pickets. Maybe you have that on your detail. And then, let's see, what else do we have here? Nope. The only new thing on this one is the architectural shingles and the darker color palette, which is the same as our requirement. So now the next page. Okay, we got a little bit smaller to get the full side effect. All right. So this is now the elevation facing the driveway, so to the east. On the right we see the front porch. The front porch on the right, and we can see underneath the stairs is also closed off with the lattice work. On the side wall, we have 4 tall windows on the top and 1 square one. And on the bottom, we have 2 double windows and a small vertical window in the middle. The foundation here along this side is all brick masonry. And for air venting the crawl space, there's a soldier course vent. In other words, bricks stood on edge, stood upright with every other one missing. Then towards the back, we see the stairs going up to the back porch and the handicap lift and the fencing, the gates for the trash cans there. The back porch also is a metal roof, and everything else is the same. So, oops, I'm sorry. It goes this way, I guess. Oh, we're doing 1 per page. There's now the opposite side, the west side, facing the neighbor's house, and actually, quite frankly, facing the street quite a bit. So this one has, again, 4 vertical windows on the upper floor, 1 square one off center, and then the 4 windows down here on the bottom. And all the rest of the details I pretty much already mentioned. So then the next page. has the details. So most of those are not us, other than the porch is 5/4 by 6 decking, and we can see that the stairs are also, let's see. Are you intending the stairs to be wood or?
On the plans, it calls out Trex.
Trex?
Yeah.
Okay, for the decking and
For
for
the
the
decking.
stairs?
Yeah, and there's also the spacing of the pickets of the fence on the
Yeah,
other.
I see that,
Okay.
yeah. So, what else was there on this? Nothing. Okay, so here we have an illustration of what the hand railing would look like, and here we see the detail for the handrails, so that it's the spindles or balusters are centered with the top and bottom rails. But like you said, you don't have the spacing on here. Three-inch maximum between them. Okay. All right. I think that's it. Yes. Then we have our staff report ready. And you're ready.
Okay, let's jump ahead since there are some folks here. Is there anyone here who received notice who would like to speak as a...
Can I say a few more things?
Sure.
Sorry, I kind of just jumped into it in the beginning there. Their neighbor, John Briggs, could not be here tonight and wanted his letter of recommendation handed in for the record. And I printed one out, and he just couldn't be here to speak, so I'd like to hand this in, if you would accept it into the record.
Sure. I think Mr. Shelley had received one as well. Is that right?
Thank you. And just the only other point I want to make is that the houses along this street are very simple, 2-story, low roofs, and the owner wanted to do something that wasn't going to really be that different than what's on the street right now, and that's kind of what we've done. Thank you.
Hey, Matt, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Matt, what's the nature of that letter that was submitted by the neighbor?
I'm not sure we're at liberty to discuss that because the author is not here to either defend or answer questions on it.
And that's typical. You have to be here to give testimony and then be able to be cross-examined, et cetera.
Fair enough.
You can.
And to note, I also received another one from another neighbor, and so again.
Understood.
So with that, is there anyone who received notice that would like to speak as a proponent of the property application? How about anyone who received notice who would like to speak as... Sir, if you identify yourself when you come up, name and address.
Dion King. It's going to be 2115 Hidden Harbor.
And have you been sworn in? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think I have.
If you'll raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I'm actually a gentleman who bought the Penix building from Mr. Rogers not too long ago. And I also own 500 Queen Street, so right across the street from 509. I do believe, from what I'm seeing here, everything that Mr. Rogers have, I believe that it will actually be very positive for my business standpoint and also for the neighborhood that's there, honestly. That lot has sat there for numerous amounts of years without it being touched. So I do believe what Mr. Rogers has proposed with the duplex, I believe that it also piggybacks off of what we already have approved on 500 Queen Street at King and Lasso. So I believe this is very cohesive, and I believe that it actually just kind of plays along with everything that we're putting already there in that neighborhood. So I am in full support of him. If he needs anything from me or my company, then I am definitely at his disposal. If there's any issues with parking, then we have ample amount across the street. So just an FYI. But thank you
All right,
guys.
thank you, sir. And I see you started on the cigar bar.
I'm excited. I hope
Good.
you guys join.
Thank you. Is there anyone who received notice would like to speak as an opponent of the property application? An opponent, yes? If you come up and identify yourself, name.
Opponent or proponent of the development there, I understand it. My name is Matthew O'Brien. I'm with my wife Andrea O'Brien.
We need him swear.
Have you been sworn in?
No.
No. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Can you also sign the list, too?
Sign the list.
Be happy to.
Print the list.
Yeah, name and address when you start to.
Okay, yeah. We live at 613 Hancock. Our backyard abuts up to the lattice brickwork wall that was spoken about.
Okay.
What's the fate of the wall itself?
There's no changes proposed to the
I
wall.
was told last owner, hearsay on the street, if you will, that it was historically protected.
Well, we don't know the age of the wall, but it's not being changed, correct?
The wall's probably 10 to 15 years
Yeah.
old, and it's not being changed.
Yeah, I think it was put in when I arrived, so it's less than 22 years. So.
Oh. I just had a question for the designer. Is the wall staying?
Absolutely.
I love it.
Did you give us your name in the microphone there?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. Thank you.
Matthew O'Brien.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Thank you. And is there anyone an opponent that can demonstrate they have standing because they would suffer special damages unique to them, different than others in the historic district? Seeing none, Matt, if you'll do your.
All right. So our staff report for this project for Clayton Rogers at 509 Queen Street. There is no historic property name because it's a vacant lot, and no descriptions from the National Register inventory or Sandbeck. But the project at 509 Queen Street is to include a new 2-unit infill building, driveway, parking area, and landscaping. So staff submits the following historic district design principles and standards, formerly known as the guidelines, that may be appropriate to this application are the development pattern 2.1.3, utilities 2.3.1, 2, 3, and 6, landscaping 2.4.3 and 4, for parking 2.7.1, 2, and 5, for design principles 3.1.1, 2, 4, and 5, for infill 3.4.1, 2, 3, and 4, for foundations 4.1.3 and 4, walls, trim, and ornamentation 4.2.4, windows, doors, and openings 4.3.2 and 3, for entrances 4.4.4, for roofs 4.5.4, for accessibility and life safety 4.7.2 and 3, for masonry 5.1.3, 4, and 5, for paint 5.4.2, 3, 4, and 6, for contemporary materials 5.5.1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. So the statements of reason based on the information contained in the application and staff's judgment are: 1, the application is for a new 2-unit infill building, driveway, parking area, and landscaping in the tight weave development pattern. 2, the proposed design components and materials meet the requirements of the design principles and standards. 3, the zoning administrator and the chief building official have reviewed this project and commented accordingly. And 4, the project is not incongruous with the design principles and standards. And the HPC may want to consider the following conditions: that revisions to the application according to the changes agreed upon at the hearing shall be submitted by the applicant to the HPC staff for approval by staff or the HPC according to the design principles and standards prior to the final inspection by the Building Inspections Division. That's the end of our report.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, I would like to go through the evaluation worksheet briefly. You're familiar with that, the green page. I'll skip to site and setting, and the only one I think we need to talk about is we've covered utilities, landscaping. Landscaping appears on the map. Fences and garden walls, there's a fence there already. It's not to be tampered with. Parking. So are there any issues with parking?
Yeah, let's talk about parking. The 50% rule for the tertiary. So Matt, when you were looking at the calculations, I see two different calculations. I saw one that was on the application, one that you did. Can you just kind of show me on the drawing what areas you included as the parking area?
Yes. I essentially used the lines that were drawn on the site plan.
Okay.
And the cutoff for the rear yard was the back edge of the deck. So across there. And so I actually came up with practically the same rear yard square footage. I think I came up with 4060. So, I mean, it could easily, because I don't have the computer to calculate that, I'm using my ruler and my calculator. But for the travel, I forget what the term is, but the area where vehicles travel for vehicular movement, I think the word is, I used the outline of the of what was drawn here on the plan and included this little gray area here as well that was behind the line of the back of the porch. That's actually quite small, and I came out with 300 square feet more than we allow, but I think the applicant's point is also to be considered.
I understand.
You can draw the lines where
Sure.
Where
I think
they
we
need
understand the applicant's point, but I just wondered why there's a difference of 250 or 300 square feet if you're both measuring the same polygon.
I don't know, and that's when she suggested that we compare our numbers. But I suspect I can see some of the dimension lines don't actually hit the lines that they're measuring to, and so I think there was some shifting and moving around of some of the items after the calculation was made, so that could be part of it as well.
And I'm happy to look at what I drew out, because I just drew polylines, and compare that and make sure that we are within the 50%. I mean, that's, I don't remember offhand, but I know that I drew them out and drew them again, and then we moved it over a little bit.
So with the zoning form indicated only 5 spaces would be required now, and so there's essentially 7 shown here, 6 plus the diagonal space. So those 2 spaces, the handicap space and the diagonal space, would leave 5, and so then that would eliminate 320 square feet.
I understand the applicant would like to keep as much of the parking space available, and I'm guessing that you can compare numbers, and if the rear yard is 4,040 square feet, that you could come up with one that maximizes the space but still stays within that 50% max.
Yes, absolutely, we can, and that's something that we, I wish we had discussed earlier.
We didn't have more than 2 hours.
Right. So we absolutely want to comply with the 50%, and we'll take away as much asphalt as necessary to do that.
And then the other thing you talked about along the same lines, I'm sorry, is the landscaping. Now you said, I think at one point, you said correct me if I'm wrong, that there will be a landscaping plan at some point in
Yes.
the future?
Absolutely, and I spoke with the owner about this. They're just trying to see if this project is going to work.
I
And
see.
so they fully intend to bring back a full landscaping plan at that point in time, as it gets developed. So that will absolutely come back to Matt, and if necessary, back to the HPC.
Awesome.
Well, for your information, landscaping is now a minor,
Yeah.
A minor,
so you don't have to come to
Okay.
HBC.
okay.
Right.
And then lighting would also be part of that.
I included one lamppost in the rear yard. Any other external lighting at this point has not been figured out. So anything that I would propose is not final. So anything that's going to be on the front, we can bring that back as well.
Yeah, I'm guessing you probably have some lighting attached to the rear of the structure.
There will be some lighting that will be visible, and again, it's just so early in the process that has not been chosen.
So does anyone have any concerns about parking will eventually be 50% or less? All right. Moving on, scale, mass, proportion, form and rhythm, texture, details on the property. Any question on the building?
No, Mr. Chair, I think it really does meet the footprint, scale, proportion that's outlined in both the designs and in the infill in section 3.4.1. I think it really does match the scale and proportion of the other buildings along Queen.
Yeah, I agree with that, the form and rhythm. I mean, it's looks very similar to other structures of that, of that design.
Yes. Design components, anything on walls or trim ornamentation, doors, windows, openings, entrances, the roof, anything there? It appears smooth hardy board, which we talked about earlier, and
I think the windows lay out nicely. They're all in vertical layout.
contemporary materials.
Mm-hmm.
And so it is pretty much exclusively contemporary materials for new infill construction. So any further comments by the board? If not, we'll look for a motion.
I also want to note too, appreciate that the corner board size is called out on that as well. I mean, that's good. And one more note before we get to the motion is, I really think that the change in the sidewalk from the 2 to the 1, I think that looks really good. Not that it's a design standard, but just as a note.
And remember, we do need some notation of the door materials and the railing spacing.
Yep, I got that.
Okay.
3-inch on railing spacing, and the door materials are to be composite.
No, she said wood.
Wood doors? Okay.
Okay. Mr. Chair, I'd like to make a motion. I move to find the application for 509 Queen Street to be not incongruous with the New Bern's Code of Ordinances, sections 15.411 through 15.429, and New Bern's Historic District Design Principles and Standards, based on the following specific guidelines and findings of fact. Development patterns 2.1.3, utilities 2.3.1, 2.3.2, 2.3.3, 2.3.6, landscaping 2.4.3, 2.4.4, parking 2.7.1, 2.7.2, 2.7.5, design principles 3.1.1, 3.1.2, 3.1.4, and 3.1.5. Infill 3.4.1, 3.4.2, 3.4.3, and 3.4.4. Foundations 4.1.3, 4.1.4. Walls, trim, ornamentation 4.2.4. Windows, doors, openings 4.3.2, 4.3.3. Entrances 4.4.4. Roofs 4.5.4. Accessibility, life safety 4.7.2, 4.7.3. Masonry 5.1.3, 5.1.4, 5.1.5. paint, 5.4.2, 5.4.3, 5.4.4, 5.4.6. Contemporary materials, 5.5.1, 5.5.2, 5.5.3, 5.5.5, and 5.5.6. And the findings of fact, based on the information contained in the application, is that the application is for a new 2-unit infill building with driveway, parking area, and landscaping in the tight weave development pattern, that the proposed design components and materials meet the requirements of the design principles and standards. The zoning administrator and the building official have reviewed this project and commented accordingly, and the project is not incongruous with the design principles and standards, with a few conditions as well. A condition that the applicant meet with the HPC administrator to verify that the parking requirements of 50% of the tertiary be met, that there is landscaping plans to be submitted to the HPC administrator, that the spacing of the spindles on the balusters and railings on the building are noted, and that the door material is noted on the plans as well. Further, condition is that any changes to the design before or during construction be submitted to the HPC administrator for review and approval based on the historic district standards and procedures.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to issue a COA?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? COA issued. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're going to come back again? Next is a recap of our special meetings that we had. We had a meeting on November 6th and November 10th to get public input on a project to update the design standards, currently known as the guidelines. We had, I guess, 40 people at the first one and probably 25 at the second. So we really appreciate those that came. We had scribes at each table, which we've got a lot of chicken scratch paper that we're looking at. And we will take that data and also the data from the online survey, which we understand is well over 100 input pieces. And we'll assemble those and try to come up with some categories, not losing any comments, but come up with some categories to make general assumptions about what the individual was concerned about or suggested or talked about. It's probably going to take through December to complete that, and once we do, we'll publish something that has that data. Any questions on that?
No, Mr. Chair, I thought the meetings went very well, and I'm hoping everybody who attended thought the same. I thought there was a lot of good comments, good participation, and I thought the meetings were very successful.
Yeah, I got very good comments of people who didn't understand HPC, had a better understanding. Yep. Some voices were heard, and that was our point. And it was a very organized meeting. Thank you for doing that. And I think some people really enjoyed coming. Yeah.
Good snacks.
Good snacks.
So we thank Jessie Rue for having orchestrated that, and she will be a vital part of this going forward. So we look to her for some guidance on putting it together, but also then how to lay it out. She suggested that we may have some assistance from the company doing the land use plan to actually put it into a format. And so we will find out how that might work. But again, we will put out a report on what we determined people were talking about.
And Mr. Chairman, one other thing, as for anybody who happens to be listening, the survey, I understand, will run till the end of this month.
Right, the end, November 30th, the survey's out there. I don't know where the link is on the website, but it certainly was on Facebook, on the city's Facebook.
It's on the website, too.
It is, okay. New business. Any new business? Any public comments? Yep. Come up, please. Identify yourself. Up here, yeah.
Do I need to sign? No.
But you have to sign?
I'm getting yeses and nos.
No.
No. Okay. Good evening.
But you do identify yourself.
I am. Give me a chance.
And can you please speak into the microphone? I can barely hear
Good
you.
evening. My name is Margot Fuskerman. I live at 516 Craven Street, and I have been in the district since 2017. My purpose tonight is to say thank you to the City, Development Services, and members of the HPC for 2 public forums related to the much-needed review, updates, and revisions to the design standards, ensuring the preservation of our historic districts. The meeting format of 5 rotating roundtable discussions was well received by all others with whom I have spoken. An extensive online survey was issued in parallel time with the meetings. A summary blending the results from both avenues of communication is eagerly anticipated. If there is a negative about these meetings, it was the means of alerting residents about the meetings, times, and purpose. Many participants learned about the sessions by word of mouth only. Technology and the United States Postal Service offer many options for communication. Finally, research of other communities and HPC structures in North Carolina confirm that this process is perhaps even a year in length and best conducted by a third-party firm that specializes in quasi-judicial procedures, historic preservation, and the North Carolina general statutes. Thank you again for taking this step and listening. A final comment about tonight. I think asking the public to sit through all of the presentations in order to do something, my time to myself was 1 minute and 40 seconds, is a deterrent to public participation, to come and communicate with you, to have to sit through all of this in order to speak first. The aldermen put it at the beginning of their meetings. So, just a suggestion. But thank you again for
Okay,
listening.
we can discuss that. So thank you for your comments.
I guess there's no one else to speak.
No, administrators report?
Yes. You can see the items that we've processed in the past month. And I would like to point out these green highlighted ones here. These are 2 items that were either violation or prevention demolition by neglect case that's been resolved. At 605 Hancock Street, there was a mechanical unit that was installed without a COA, actually way back in, I think, 2019 or 2020. And they came in and they did their application, and it was a pretty straightforward application. So their property, that issue is now resolved on that property. For 720 East Front Street, they had non-compliant metal roofing, and then they were able to replace that, and it was determined to be a replacement in kind to do that. So that's it.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. And this is just a dumb question. What's a blade sign?
I saw that too.
That's a lot.
Blade sign, right. So that's a sign that the old-timey storefront sign that kind of hangs off of
One that like hangs like on
Yes.
like on a chain or something.
Yes, right.
That's
On a
called a
bracket, right? There's a bracket that it hangs from or something. So for some reason, that's called a blade.
Okay.
Like it's a
So
knife or
a
something
normal
hanging
sign
there, I
would
don't
be
know.
would be parallel with the front. This is perpendicular to the front.
Correct, right.
Good to know.
related to anything, but my grandfather was a dentist, great-grandfather was a dentist, and then you hung a big tooth from one of those signs out in front of your office.
Yes, that wouldn't meet code now.
That would be a tooth sign.
Okay, any commissioner comments?
Matt, can we discuss briefly adding 209 Johnson Street to the list of resolutions to prevention of demolition and neglect?
Oh, yes.
I had a conversation with them today, and they're
Well, yes, so I only got to follow up on that one this morning, and so it didn't make the agenda.
okay.
So that would certainly be on the next agenda.
They really want something tomorrow, and I didn't promise that, but I said that I would do my best.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
But yes, having seen that, that has been quite a fantastic transformation, handling all the various issues that we had 8 complaints filed for that at one time, and all of those issues have been resolved. So I even learned a little bit something about a kind of an interesting little quirk that seemed to be not compliant, but in the end, it seems like it will be. So
I'm sorry, what was that property?
209 Johnson Street,
Next to
the Gibbs / basketball house.
Yep.
/ Slover.
What did you learn, Matt?
So they had to repair a section of the front porch handrail, and the entire handrail has the old turned balusters on it, except for the very last section back up against, on the left side against the house. They had installed square section for half of that. So half of it was turned, and then there was a small post, and then half was straight section. And it turns out that it was actually that way when they bought it and before the deterioration happened. And that was because it had been prior, many decades prior, it had been a stairway there onto the porch from the side. And there was a door actually in the wall of the house at that spot as well. And so the door is gone. It had been covered over by the current siding, and the steps were removed, and someone had put in the square section railing. And so I find that to be not only appropriate, but historically important, because it tells that portion of the story of the house. So I think that's a very interesting thing to point out. Thank you very much for asking, because
Most times in between World War I and the end of World War II became boarding houses out of need and necessity.
That's right.
So
Yep.
anyone that had a 2-level house within the first 6 blocks, I would say 60% had rooms for rent. So that was the reason.
Yep, some during the war for soldiers and sailors and such, but also after the war, that starts to get into the industrial boom that the country had, but also in particular New Bern had an industrial boom, a lot of mills down along the river. And so there was a big housing shortage. A lot of first of all, the soldiers coming back from the war needing a job, and also a lot of the farm folk coming out of the countryside looking for jobs as well. Again, a boarding house or apartment building, or many people just had a room upstairs in their house. And he had mentioned that there had also been a fire escape stairway on that whole side of that house as well, which has been long gone. So we didn't ask them to put that back, though, right? Yeah, so that's good.
All right, just one quick reminder, there is the normal design review meeting December 3rd, but there will be no regular meeting in December. With that, any further business? Motion to adjourn?
Oh, Jamie, the baby. The baby's not
No,
here
all
yet,
good,
right?
all good. We just traded meetings, so you'll have me tonight, and you'll have me for a few months next year.
All right. So I've got a sterling silver curve handle spoon for the baby boy. You can take it later. Okay. So I've taken care of that.
Due date late December.
Right. So,
When's she due?
Late December.
Late December, okay. Christmas.
right.
Christmas. Motion to adjourn?
So moved. I'll second.
All those in favor? Meeting adjourned.
Yes. 52. All right.